Right, let's go to some questions. I'll begin. Thank you very much for your speech. And just to start with on what you said around budget balance, you said it's within reach to deliver ongoing budget balances, and that's the test for Labor. Yeah. In terms of the coalition delivering on that, so you've got a tax to GDP limit of 23.9%. If we go to the year 26-27, the first year you'd be able to deliver a budget, to stick to that tax speed limit and have a budget balance, you'd have to bring spending down in the order of $65 billion. Is that what the fat you could trim? $65 billion in that year, you think?
Well, no, let's be clear. What you have to do to get back to budget balance, Tom, and this is the crucial point, is to make sure your economy is growing faster than your spending. And as long as you can follow that formula, you can get yourself back to budget balance. That's the key. That has been absolutely central to our approach when we were in government. Between 2013 and 2019, we did exactly that. We did exactly that. It was hard work. It was hard work, but we did exactly that. And that would be our focus. Now, there are areas of spending... So would it be longer-term cuts, not in 1 year? Is that what you're indicating
now?
We're not handing down the alternative budget. I mean, I wish we were handing down a budget, but we're not handing down an alternative budget. What we are, though, is laying out the pathway and the principles that we would apply if we were in government and when, as we hope, we do get back into government. So... that's the approach we're taking here. Okay. I would say, there's some very clear areas of spending that we have said need a very long, hard look at. I mean, $45 billion of spending that we have rejected over recent months, $18 billion of interest costs associated with it. And, sometimes in government, what's most important is what you don't do, not just what you do. And we've said that it's just not an appropriate time to be spending that money. And these are very real areas where we've parted company on already from the government.
OK, I know there's an obsession on a surplus. Let's not have a surplus of questions, though, today for the journalists. Boom, boom. Dan Jarvis-Sparty from the West Australian kicks us off.
Thank you for your speech, Mr Taylor. Can we go to the issue of gas? You spoke about it in the speech. You're clearly critical of the government's approach and as the opposition leader said in the budget reply speech, the coalition wants to do more to support it. Can you just elaborate on exactly what you would do to get more supply into the system and support gas? And how do you respond to the inevitable criticism that will come from the government that when you were in government, you pursued the gas-fired recovery from COVID and that came to very little?
Well, Dan, we saw remarkable growth in the gas industry in our time in government. Remarkable growth in the gas industry. And the process of doing that supported customer countries like Japan and Korea and China to reduce their emissions and to move to what is a cleaner energy source than would otherwise have been the case. And, that was policy that we drove for a long period of time. Getting rid of the carbon tax was central to that. Then you ask about the specific policies that we'd have. I mean, I think I've already outlined a number of the things that Labor is doing that we would oppose. I mean, really, Labor is creating barriers. We've been very clear about a number of those policies of Labor's that we're opposed to. We opposed the imposition of that heavy-handed intervention in the gas market with the legislation that went through late last year. We've obviously taken a very strong view on the safeguard mechanism and the impact that will have on the gas industry. We've always had a view that you've got to see approvals through on a smooth basis, and that's been a major issue for many of the gas producers and will continue to be. But, the important point here is you either see this as an industry that's an important part of our future in getting down emissions for us and our customer countries, or you don't. And it's clear from what Labor's doing with the death by 1,000 cuts approach they're taking that they don't see it as part of the mix. The real question for them is how do they think energy systems are going to work for industry, for firming up electricity over the coming years if there's not enough gas?